On May 6, 2022, less than 3 months after Jared Bridegan was murdered, Kim Jensen arrived at the Jacksonville Beach Police Department to speak with investigators. Kim had known Jared and his family for approximately 20 years through their church community. She says she first knew Jared from a distance, but later became close to his wife, Shanna Gardner. During Jared and Shanna's marriage, and especially throughout their divorce, Kim became one of Shanna's closest friends. According to Kim, she was one of the few people who continued to stand beside Shanna during the conflict that followed. That relationship is important context for everything you are about to hear. Kim speaks openly and at length about Jared and Shanna's marriage, their divorce, finances, custody arrangements, their children, and Shanna's later relationship with Mario Fernandez-Saldana. Her account is strongly sympathetic toward Shanna and deeply critical of Jared. Some of her statements describe events she says she personally witnessed. Others reflect information shared with her by Shanna, as well as Kim's own opinions and interpretations. Those claims should not be treated as independently established facts. This is Kim Jensen's first recorded police interview in the Jared Bridegan investigation. Apart from minor edits, the interview is presented largely as it was recorded.
You sit right there. Give you the comfy couch.
Oh, thanks.
How's your day going?
Pretty good.
So I'm sure you know this is about Jared and what happened to him.
Yeah.
Someone had said that you knew Jared even before Shanna. Is that correct or no?
Oh, I've known Jared and his family since he was like 12 or 13 years old.
Okay.
Whenever they moved to Jacksonville from wherever they moved. We were never close, but
Yeah.
I've known him since he was a kid. I knew the girls that he dated when he was a teenager. I knew, you know what I mean? Like, I've known that family for probably 20 years.
Okay. Do you go to the same church as them? You're
Yeah.
in the same ward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Jared and his family from what you can remember. Anything stand out?
We were never friends. I knew his mother. I was friendly. I'm one of those people that I'm just, what you see is what you get.
Uh-huh.
I'm real. If I don't like you, I won't be friends with you,
Yeah.
but I will be kind. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say good morning and keep on walking down the hall of the church, whatever.
Of course.
So I knew his family from a distance. I did attend a baby shower or two that maybe his mom hosted at their home.
Mm-hmm.
But we were never close by any means. Jared was he was kind of quiet as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He never had a lot of friends. The girls he dated in the church, two things that I remember always: never dated a girl that wasn't loaded with money, and never didn't end the relationship that everyone talked about what a jerk he was.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy that broke the girls' hearts. He was, you know, he puts on, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He would be nice at first, and then the real Jared would come out.
Okay.
When then I met Shanna, I knew about Shanna when he married her, because his mom was so excited because she was, you know, from this rich family, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, their life was going to be so great and blah blah blah. And then she had twins, and ended up having pulmonary hypertension,
Mm-hmm.
and they had to move to Florida. So I met Shanna about maybe 8.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I have twins. So, and she actually was one of my teenage daughter's teachers in the youth program.
Okay.
And so she and I got to be friends while she was still married to Jared, because number one, I knew his family. Number two, I felt sorry for her that she married him. Number three, she taught my kid,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of had that common bond with the twin thing.
Gotcha.
So that's how she and I became friends.
Okay.
And then as time went on, probably within a year of them moving here, like, she and I became better and better friends. And now, you know, I probably talk to Shanna 5-6 times a week, maybe every day.
Okay. So you say you guys are really good friends.
We're really good friends.
Yeah.
We're really good friends. I was one of the few people who stood beside her when they got divorced. When the divorce happened, like, I knew that she was going to tell him, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was going to flip out, just because of the personality that I had always
Right.
remembered or whatever. he went around and he accused her of having an affair to everyone. And the way it worked was, at the very beginning, the kids would be with her from, for 2 days, and then they kept them at the home, and then for 3 days she'd have them, and then it kind of went back and forth on a 2-3 kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And the days that she did not have the children, she oftentimes spent the night at my house, and he was around telling her, oh, she's off, she didn't come home last night, she's sleeping with it, and she was on my couch. She
Right.
wasn't sleeping with anybody.
Right.
So it was not hard for me to stand by her, because I knew where she was, because she was with me most of the time. We kind of like adopted her and the kids, and so that's how she and I became better friends than we were, and why we are good friends today.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. You made a comment that you were kind of sorry she married Jared. What do you mean by that?
Only because anyone that I had known that he'd ever dated would always end up where the girl was hurt.
Gotcha. Okay, so just kind of a track record of...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
His track record was hurting girls and never dating anyone that had money. In fact, it was always interesting to me, just because I always thought he had an algorithm or something for it. You know what I mean? Like, how does a dude go for 3 girls in a row that have a freaking trust fund? Like, how does any guy get that lucky? How does anyone get that? You know what I mean? Like, it almost makes you think he's got a system, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't think anyone is that good of luck.
Okay. Okay. Or your perception of his other brothers?
I only vaguely knew Justin, and only because Justin was older, and Jared was the youngest. I never knew the sister Ashley. I don't even ever remember her. She may have been like gone before they moved. Like, I have zero memory of her.
Gotcha.
Other than throughout the years, like, she would come visit, and this is our daughter Ashley, and it's like, she looks just like her mom, so you know what I mean. It was easy to see that, but I never knew her. Justin married Gwen and had the little boy, and I think they were living in North Carolina, and then they moved back, and so they were in the ward at church for a brief period of time. She was a teacher in the little kids program, and I was over that program, so I got to know her, but I only knew who he was. I know he would give a talk, and he was a good speaker. Do you know what I mean? But I never knew Justin.
Yeah.
Adam was married to Carly, who they were in the ward for some time. She worked in the youth program with my oldest daughter, and they were very good friends. I always thought Adam was gay. His job, he was a manny. He babysat, and even married, you're babysitting. You know what I mean? Like, that was just weird to me. Like, I would never leave my children with a guy. Even if, you know what I mean? Even if I knew you at church, that's just weird to me.
Yeah.
And so I always thought he was weird. Like, he's very nice, but that always struck me as weird. Any guy that has babysitter as your job is weird to me. But I might be a little judgy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
No, I totally understand.
So.
And so, you're friends with Shanna. You kind of see what's going on with Jared and her. What, in your opinion, what was kind of the cause of their divorce?
So he was I used to go over to the house, and he was very antisocial. Like, he didn't, if I went over, so I could walk. We both lived in Ponte Vedra. It was a long walk, but I could walk from my house to hers in about half an hour. So sometimes, I'm going to go for a walk in the evening. I'd go over there, hang out, maybe I'd walk back, maybe she'd drive me home, whatever. I'd walk in, and he would instantly go to his bedroom.
Okay.
Anytime I was there during the day, he had zero engagement or involvement. He pretty much stayed in his bedroom, unless it was time to eat, or he had to come out for some reason. He pretty much stayed in his bedroom. He was on his laptop. He never worked the entire time they were married. That to me is a red flag. You got a husband that doesn't work. You know what I mean? You married the rich girl, and now you don't work.
Right.
And the family did give stipends for education. Education is very important to Shanna's family, And so if either of you were in school, you got a monthly stipend that would cover your expenses. So nobody had to work, but he kept himself in school. You know what I mean? It was the bachelor's, then it was the master's. You know what I mean? Like, he kept himself in school to not work.
Gotcha.
I always thought he was lazy. He's very much like his father. I know that when they were going through the divorce, his mother tried to be my friend, which I found funny, because you're just fishing. You just want me to give you something that will help him, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it was so obvious. Like, we've never been friends in, 16 years, and now all of a sudden you want to be my friend. That's just kind of weird. It was like, oh, how's Shanna? You know, I mean, like, you don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I was very surface stuff. Oh, she's fine. She's doing fine. And so, I don't know if, so he would, so things, just little things, she would cook meals, you know what I mean? Like, she was the typical mom, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
She took care of everybody, she took care of everything, she did all the things, and, he came out for food, but zero, like I said, just the interaction with the kids just wasn't there. I don't know why. Clearly, from the videos that are being shown on the news and articles or whatever, he has evolved a little bit as and become a better parent than he started out.
Right.
I mean, and I believe people can change. I don't know. I don't know how much I believe he changed. I believe he changed his public persona.
Gotcha.
If I'm, you know what I mean? Like, but like I said, this is all conjecture too. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't live with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he would do things like we came in one time and there was a box of like hair dye on the counter. And I was like, that's weird for a place for it. And she texted me later and said, he told me he thought I would look better if my hair was this color. Like, just that was Jared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to give you a hint.
Kinda,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Jared was just an ass. He was always an ass. You know what I mean? Like, even if he didn't yell, like, there was always I'm an ass undertone with Jared.
Gotcha. So,
he was like that with church. Like I said, even people at church where, that's supposed to be your place where, friends and family come and, you know what I mean? You worship, you do whatever. Like, he was always on his phone. He didn't engage in conversation. Like, there might be one or two people who actually were his friend.
Gotcha.
And it's just so funny to me because even people that I know who completely despised him, now they're all talking about him like he was this saint. And I'm just like, y'all don't remember what you actually know? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if people are just fake or, you know what I mean? It's a sad story, so you're sharing it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what people's motives are, or if you think that's your duty because you knew him. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of comical to me watching some of the people who are so over the top on things, and I'm thinking, he hurt your daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's things in my head that go through, like, you know what I mean? If someone hurt my kid the way he hurt some of these people's kids, I just can't imagine having the position. You know what I mean? It's sad we want it solved, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be your biggest cheerleader here.
Right.
Because I really don't have any skin in the game.
I understand. So what would you say what would you see that kind of happened since you were so close to it after their divorce? How was Shanna? What was her demeanor? And
So Shanna, after the divorce, Shanna struggled hard emotionally. She struggled hard emotionally. She had 3 jobs. He continued to not work. I think their divorce was final like in July, maybe? It was 7 years ago, but I think it was July was the month that it was final. And she had 3 jobs. He had a job. Actually, I take that back. He got a job once she filed for divorce.
Gotcha.
And then as soon as the divorce proceedings were going and child support came up, he emailed his boss, because the lawyer was able to get HR records, emailed his boss and said he was no longer able to work because of his personal situation. However, he did continue to work, and they paid him under the table. He just didn't want it to look like he worked on paper, so he wouldn't be charged with child support, because he was bitter that her family had money, and he didn't think he should have to pay child support when her family was rich.
Gotcha.
But they were his kids, not her family's kids. So, you know what I mean? Like that,
Yeah,
that whole,
yeah.
you know what I mean? You're a dad. That's your job.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You pay for the kids. She worked 3 jobs. She was exhausted. She put the kids in like a daycare. They used to go to, it was right over in Ponte Vedra, by Publix. It was like I don't think, it was like in Sawgrass. In November, she was so grateful because he emailed or texted her. He refused to speak to her ever. There was 0 verbal communication between the two of them, probably in the whole time that they were divorced.
Yeah.
He left. He was leaving the state. He was going to Utah. Said he'd taken a job or something, but really he was on the prowl for another girl. And so he was gonna, the deal was, if she would sign a change in parenting agreement and she would agree to let him see the kids every other weekend, he was gonna fly back and see them. He would, we would be good. We just agree to this. We don't have to do lawyers. We'll just agree to this, get it notarized, file it with the court. We're done.
Yeah.
So she did it. She was so grateful. But then it was, he's going to FaceTime the kids every single day. And, he would tell them, Dad's coming into town. I'm going to bring you so many presents. And then, he didn't come.
Right.
He would, I'm busy at work. You know what I mean? So it was like, he would build the kids up and try to get them so excited to see him. And then I think he ended up coming maybe like 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
So during that time when he was gone, life was much better, other than the FaceTimes were just disruptive to they were 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it's kind of young to be FaceTiming. Yeah.
Every day was
just.
FaceTime's great. I think you need to see your kids, but every day was just much, and so anyway, so her attorney filed something. We found out where he was working, and I think his mom blurted it out in church one day, and I was like, I found out where he works. And so her attorney emailed and found out that he was out there and he was working, and he was making like $90,000 a year. And here she is working 3 jobs. He's paying for nothing. She told him the kids were in preschool, and he was like, I'm barely making anything. I just, if I'm going to be able to afford to fly there, I'm not going to be able to afford to pay whatever, what I mean?
Gotcha.
So, he sent $0, and he's out there living large, and come to find out, she starts prying around, her attorney starts prying around, they're going to file something for child support and quit, like that. Quit his job. Quit his job and was going to move back to Florida, and came back with a new girl in tow. And then life became hell again. But because they had filed this thing with the court that only gave him the right to see the kids every other weekend, he thought he was going to come back and instantly it would go back to mine for 2 days, yours for 3, you know what I mean? And then you got that kind of a thing. And so it turned into this big kerfuffle of, she was withholding the children, he was going to have her arrested for kidnapping, he wanted to see them when he wanted to see them, and she was like, sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was following what was currently filed with the court,
Right,
and I realize that has gotten spun in a different way all through the news, but that's what happened. That's the truth.
No, I understand. He thought he was going to come back and it was just going to go back to
Yeah.
normal. Yeah.
I'm back in town, you know what I mean? And I'm still not paying for anything, and you know what I mean? And I'm going to, not that paying for anything had anything to do with seeing your kids, but the current thing filed with the court said you get them every other weekend.
Yes.
You get them from Saturday morning to Sunday night. That's what the thing said. Or maybe it was Friday. I think it was Saturday morning because he would get in late on Friday when he did come. So,
Okay.
but there was never a custody battle I mean, that was determined at the divorce. It was 50-50. You know,
Right,
the
right.
only thing that ever changed with custody was they realized that as the kids got older, I think by the time they were 4, the 2-day, 3-day, the kids never knew, even at school, am I going home with mom? Am I going home with dad? Like, it got too hard on them doing too many switches too soon. And so they themselves decided to try week on, week off.
Right.
With a date night on Wednesday in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And they put that in practice for a few months to just try it out. And the kids were happier. They were happier. That midweek breakup gave, the other parent to see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then but that was just between them. And so he would try to hold her hostage over that. It was like, okay, well, I have something coming up, and if you don't agree to make this timeshare switch or this week switch, the kids won't be available on date night. And so he always tried to use the kids to get what he wanted from her.
It's like a leveraging tool, kind of.
Yeah, like he used them like pawns.
Yeah.
And so I said, take him back to court and make it permanent. It's working. We got work. If the judge signs it, then he can't hold date night hostage.
Yeah.
It just is what it is, and he'll have to abide by it. He always tried to take that off the table. Always, through all, as the kids get older, they're going to have extracurriculars. It's not going to be feasible. And her thing, everything he ever threw at her was, she would go to the kids and she would say, do you guys like date night? Do you want to do date night? Yes, Mom. She's like, okay. And so she would fight. Mm-hmm. If they wanted it, she fought for it. Yeah. To me, like, Shanna was always like the best example of a mom because she always put her kids first. Mm-hmm. If it was important to them, she fought for it. If it was something they didn't care about, it's not worth fighting for it because they don't care. You know what I mean?
Right.
Her kids' mental and emotional and physical well-being was always her number one priority. Always.
Just to kind of back you up a little bit here. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of questions and I want to ask them. I don't want to forget. What was your thought about when Shanna decided that she kind of wanted to leave the church?
Like I said, you probably interviewed a lot of church people.
Actually, no, really
no?
haven't.
You haven't? Okay. For me, I think there are good people and bad people in every church, every industry, every business, everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that I'm only going to be your friend if you go to church with me.
Gotcha.
I'm one of those people that if you don't go to church with me, I'm not going to not be your friend.
Yeah.
If I'm your friend, it's because I genuinely like you and I'm your friend. Mm-hmm. I stuck with Shanna regardless of that. I was a little bit sad because I felt like she left the church because she was trying to disassociate herself with anything that reminded her of him.
Gotcha.
He always acted like church was the most important thing to him, but when he had the kids, they would come back and they would say, she would say, oh, what'd you guys do with Dad this weekend? Did you go to church? No, Dad said it was closed. And she would text me and she'd be like, what? And I'm like, well, it was open. I was there. You know what I mean? So it's like, they were 3. He could get away with saying whatever he wanted to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I didn't really, think anything. I knew her parents would be sad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I mean, when you're raised in any religion or any culture, and that's been all you've known your whole life, I'm sure there's a heaviness or a sadness in your parents when you stray away from that.
Of course, absolutely.
But it didn't really affect me because I genuinely loved Shanna.
Yeah. And you said Shanna was working 3 jobs. Were her parents like kind of helping her out, or? No,
her parents had stopped helping her out. They kind of cut her off because he wasn't in school, so the stipend was off. Mm-hmm. She considered going to school to get the stipend. Yeah. However, she had twin toddlers. You know what I mean? It was hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she was kind of one of those things where it was like, I don't need anybody else. I'm strong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So she worked at Publix. She worked at the YMCA. She worked at she would like meal prep for people, and like she'd come into your house and she'd meal prep you for a week. You know what I mean? She put some in the freezer, some in the fridge, and then you'd just pop it out and you'd cook it.
Gotcha.
And so she had, and she was constantly, if she wasn't at one, she was at the other. If she wasn't at that one, she was asleep on the couch. You know what I mean? It was like, she was just, it was one of those things where she ran herself ragged trying to make ends meet for the kids so that she could give them what they needed and what they wanted.
Gotcha.
Because she was kind of running solo at that point.
Gotcha.
Her parents, I think her parents cut her off because they weren't in favor of divorce, and I don't think they wanted to believe that he was as horrible as she said, that he was as manipulative and narcissistic as she said.
Right.
But then, as they saw the emails and the texts and the nastiness that came out, he even tried to sue them when they got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to sue them. He wanted them to continue paying to finish his master's degree. And he also pulled a stunt where he tried to sue them because he had been married to her when, I think it was over their life insurance policy. He wanted to still be entitled to that when they died because he had been married to Shanna. And, you know, their attorney was like, "You're an idiot." You know what I mean? Like, if you're not the spouse, you know what I mean? Like, you have no claim on, the parents. But, I mean, it was always about money with him.
Gotcha.
That's what drove him. He tried to create an app. I think it was called Mezzy. My kid had a shirt from it. He gave it all the girls. They would come over to Shanna's and sleep over, and he was the husband, and they all had these Mezzy shirts. And I know that they had taken, I think, $100,000 or $150,000 of her trust or savings or something, and the parents had given him another $150,000. I don't know how much it costs to start an app,
right?
But it never launched, and $300,000 was tanked into it doing something.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't know.
Did through all the issues with visitations and going back and forth and date night and all that stuff, did you ever see where like was either one that kind of maybe trying to like gain more custody over the kids, or?
I think both would have been happier if they could have, but I mean, it's Florida. I mean, you pretty much have to have a parent in jail or have a mom for a crack whore. I mean, it's 50-50. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And like her lawyer told her, this parenting plan, this consent final, the CFJ, this is your Bible till they're 18. So I mean, what you wanted and what was possible, you know what I mean? It wasn't the same. I mean, he always tried to. He was very accusatory. You know what I mean? Oh, if you're dating someone, they're not good. You know what I mean? They're not allowed to FaceTime if you're with anyone but yourself. You know what I mean? Like he was always, he tried to control the situation and her life even outside of marriage. He has this need for control.
Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think he was trying to control her and like had all these rules about the FaceTime and all that?
Because he's a narcissist. His mother, she'll tell you, he's just like his father. He's very controlling. He's a narcissist. They went to therapy. They went to a church therapist, which always makes me laugh because you go to a church therapist, you can give a Sunday school answer, and they'll say, check, you pass. You know what I mean? Like, go to a real therapist, it's going to make you do the work. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never a fan of church therapists, whatever that actually means. But they went to one, and she saw it straight away. He's definitely a narcissist. He always had to be in control. He had to be in control of the story. I'm the victim. She cheated on me. No one else would leave me for any other reason because I'm so, you know what I mean? And I mean, I get it. As his family, they ran with that. It's easier to say, oh, my son's wife cheated on him. You know what I mean? Than, my son's an ass and his wife left. You know what I mean? Like, what sounds better? You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Of course. I get it. But,
So then, kind of knowing Mario, or knowing Shanna, knowing Jared, what were your thoughts when you were like, she's like, oh hey, I'm with this new guy named Mario. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I think she met him at the gym. I think it was CrossFit maybe. She met him there. And my thought was, you don't need to be with anybody. You need to go fix what he broke. you don't need to date anybody. Let's figure out you. Let's learn how to just be happy with you and not be dependent on anyone else. Just, you know what I mean? That was always my advice. I didn't want her dating anyone. I certainly didn't want her marrying anyone.
Yeah.
I said, you know, I mean, I didn't know him per se. I mean, I met him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He certainly is. He doesn't. Jared might be an ass, but if you just saw him, you might even think he was a nice guy.
Gotcha.
You see Mario, and he doesn't. It's not same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then, you know, don't judge a book by its cover. You know what I mean? Like,
Gotcha.
I've seen how much Mario has, like, he adored those kids. He filled voids that Jared was creating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, those kids wanted you to sit on the floor and build Legos, and, you know what I mean? They wanted that kind of dad. And Jared wasn't that guy. They wanted cuddles. Jared was always, I'm so hot. He was so hot. He always had to sleep with a box fan. It was the weirdest thing. You know what I mean? And, like, Mario, you know, he's small. Like, that was my biggest thing with Shanna. I was like, you never marry a dude that's shorter than you. That's just, you don't do that. You know what I mean? She's like, my sister said the same thing. You know what I mean? It was like, you know what I mean? So, I mean, my, you know, should you not was not because I thought he was bad. It was, it's just not, it broke all my rules. But I wasn't marrying him, so it didn't really matter what I thought. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, if you were looking for someone who was the polar opposite of Jared, even in appearance, you found him. You know what I mean? But, like, I really didn't have any baseline of, is he good, is he bad, is he just fine. I saw how well and how great he did with the kids, and the kids just loved him. They talked about him all the time, which kind of resonated with me, and I really think that resonated with her. You know what I mean? I mean, what's the way to a single mom's heart? Love her kids. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like, you know, like a playbook. So, but he, unlike Jared, like, he didn't seem to have any motive that way. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he ever thought he'd even get married.
Gotcha.
You know, I think they got married hoping it would be a good marriage and that it would be good for the kids, and it would, because he was so good with the kids, it would help them, you know what I mean, in this transition.
Gotcha. Did you find it odd that they got married so quick?
I did, but I understood why they got married so quick because even though I tried so hard to talk to her and give her strength about how he can't control you unless you let him, she always was in fear that, you know, if I live with him, then, you know, he'll try to take me to court and, you know what I mean, and say, you know, she's being a bad example for the kids, and, you know what I mean, like, she never wanted to give up more custody than she had and that she was entitled to.
Gotcha.
And there was always that fear. I mean, he was a narcissist that chipped away at her. I mean, she was in therapy long before I knew her. Even when they lived in Connecticut, she was in therapy because it was hard for her to handle him and all he threw at her. And he really did chip away at her a little at a time. He did. So I was cautiously optimistic. I understood what her thought processes were, but I would have not been happy if she would have been my daughter. I'd have tried to stop it. Gotcha. You need more time under your belt. Make sure you know him, and you know what I mean, like all just the normal mom things that go through your head. So I did, but I knew they were trying to do right by the kids. You know what I mean? So I always kind of hoped that everything would just be fine.
And then throughout the relationship, did you get to know him any better, or?
I did. You know, he always used to talk to me. He always wanted to talk to me about church. You know, why do you believe in God? And, you know, why don't you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, we would kind of go back and forth like that. And, you know, one time I was like, I mean, do you not at all? Well, I believe in something. What is that? Oh, I believe in something. You know, there's got to be a higher power. I mean, obviously there has to be. You know what I mean? Like something like that. You know, and you know, we mostly talked about things like that. He talked about, you know, I think, you know, if there's something going on with the kids, it would be, you know, he would give his 2 cents, you know, and sometimes they were good cents and sometimes they weren't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but like, I mean, I was never close to Mario, but definitely friendly with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I go to Shanna's all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're always on the phone. You know what I mean? A lot of times I'll be on speakerphone while they're in the car or whatever. You know what I mean? So I mean, he was always around.
Yeah.
But we weren't. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, he was just, that's who Shanna was married to. But Shanna's my friend. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
I wasn't trying to find like a couple's dating pool or something. You know what I mean? Like, my relationship was mostly just Shanna, but you know, I know Mario. I would say he's my friend.
Gotcha. Would you say that as of late their relationship has changed a little bit?
I don't know that their relationship has changed per se. Like, I mean, I know all the dynamics of what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his intentions are good. His execution is poor.
Gotcha.
Because he was raised in a third world country
Mm-hmm.
where they do things very differently. And I think when kids are divorced kids, they create a set of survival skills on how I survive in this house and how I survive in that house.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe how I act in this house is not the same as how I act in this house.
Of course.
Because I have to do whatever it is to keep this parent happy that I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he was much better at it. Him. Didn't like the game. You know what I mean? Spent a lot of time in trouble over there at Jared and Kirsten's house. You know, that's all he talked about.
Yeah.
He would say something wrong on date night and be told then you're going to be punished just when you get back on Monday. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things where, and part of it was Jared wanted them to hate Shanna as much as he did. To me, I don't care who you are, and I've got siblings who are divorced and have kids and whatever. My number one rule is, I'm going to love you the best I can at my house, and Dad's going to love you the best way he can at his house. And how I feel about your dad should never be relayed to you if you're the kid.
100% I agree.
That's my job, is to protect you.
Yeah.
I'm just supposed to love you. And Shanna always did that. It could have been the day from hell with emails back and forth and this, that, and the other, and they would say something about him, and her response was always very simple. It was, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Or, you know, I'm sorry that Dad made you sad. Or she never said, you know, it was never, I understand. You know what I mean? Like, she never engaged in that, ever.
Gotcha.
Whereas the kids themselves, because I spent a lot of time with the kids. I love the kids. And they would, you know, would say, I get in trouble if I say anything about my mom at my dad's house. My dad hates my mom. That makes me very sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they would tell you, you know. In fact, one time they told Shanna, and did not want me to find out because she was so embarrassed. He told them that they shouldn't do anything with me because I was bad. So anyone who was friends with Shanna, you're automatically bad.
Oh, gotcha.
So I'm a bad person. So, you know what I mean? It was just that. I just feel like when it came to Shanna, it was toxic. You know? But I never witnessed anything other than, you know what I mean? Sometimes she'd put them in bed, she'd call me, and she's sobbing because I had to tell, you know what I mean? I had to just sit there and let them tell me whatever. You know what I mean? And, you know, I always admired that part of her motherhood, is that she always put them first and always felt that it would be detrimental if she ever said anything bad about him. So, you know, and as far as Mario, he just wanted to, he wanted them to stand up for themselves. You know what I mean? Like, ask him why you're getting punished. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted them to, like, be independent and strong and you know, like at Shanna's house, like, if they would cry and whine for something, that wasn't going to get them anything. It would get them anything they wanted over there, just don't cry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, why would you act two different ways? You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't understand the concept of kids have to come up with those survival skills.
Yes, right.
So, you know, Mario's just not the marrying kind, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he's very just, I don't know. I don't think any of that was ever important to him. I don't even think he ever saw himself getting married. But I do think that he loves Shanna and the kids. And, I mean, they're super great friends. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It's almost like
you could be a decent person and love somebody, but not necessarily be the best
in love,
spouse.
or be in love with
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I think he
Yeah.
loves her. I don't know that he's in love with her.
Yeah.
I don't know that he ever was. But he definitely loves those kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and that brings up a good point. You know, you said you don't know that he was ever in love with her. You think he married her just for the kids, basically, or you think there was more to it, or?
I don't know. I mean, Mario's very. He talks a lot. Like, sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, he talks a lot, but he's never, and he's very black and white. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's not.
He doesn't sugarcoat things. I've noticed that.
Do what?
I've talked to him a couple times. He doesn't seem to sugarcoat things.
He's very unfiltered, raw. He'll just spit it out.
Yeah.
And Shanna is more like, and you have to take her whole, you know, Shanna's been emotionally battered.
Mm-hmm.
So she needs that feel good. She needs that. And he's not the warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
He's just, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And like with his words I'm talking about, he's just very matter of fact and, oh, that hurt your feelings? Well, sorry. You know what I mean? Get over, you know what I mean? Like, he's not, I don't know. I don't know how you can be such good friends, but maybe not meant for each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? On a intimate level?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean, I don't know. I do know that he always loved those kids. I do know that he always wanted to, like, I don't know. And again, I told you from the beginning I might be a little judgy. And I'm able to admit that, but I always thought that
I'm okay with that.
I always thought that, you know what I mean? Like, he just was like Napoleon syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they thought he was so big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he would do all the things that Jared wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know? But that, you know, that was only in the beginning. Like, Jared, like I said, he has somewhat evolved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in that he did do things with them sometimes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was genuine. It's just so weird to me because, like, I see the videos of him with the baby and the little girl. Shanna doesn't own any of those, and she's got a buttload of pictures, but he didn't have any hands-on involvement. You know what I mean? Like, I can remember when they first were separating, even though he wouldn't leave until he got his money, because that was his deal. He wouldn't leave the house until he got half the house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that wasn't going to happen until the divorce was final. You know what I mean? It was that kind of a thing. But he lived there for months in this toxic environment because he refused to leave until he got paid. And the kids would be so confused. It was, why do we have to stay with Dad? Like, he didn't even know what to feed them, or, you know, like, he didn't know anything, and they were very confused of why he would be watching them. You know what I mean? As little as they were, they understood, this is what Mom does. You know what I mean? Like, what is happening? Because he was always in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And they always had to, be quiet, Dad's on the computer. You know what I mean? Like, it was a very confusing, and it's like those videos that are out, it's like, wow, I mean, I'm glad that you've come around. It's, you know what I mean? But I feel sad for Abby and Liam. Like, those don't even exist. It's not that we haven't seen them. It's that they don't exist. They weren't there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe you grew up as a parent, you know?
Maybe. I mean, Shanna's grown a ton. You know what I mean? Like, when you would hope that no matter when you have a relationship, whether it's successful or failed, that you're going to take things and become a better person as a result of the experiences that you've had. So, you know, if he grew up some, then, you know, kudos to him. You know, I mean, 7 years. So you figure when she married him, and that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time. You know what I mean? He's 21 years old. I mean, you know what I mean? How were you at 21 versus 33?
A lot different.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've got 21-year-old sons, and I'm hoping at 33 that there's going to be some evolution.
My parents parents were concerned for a little while, but
Yeah.
we're good now. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, did it? I'm trying to think how to word this. Did Mario's fondness for women bother Shanna at all? You think, or?
Oh yeah.
I mean, and he had some people living there and some other things, and
Yeah, but it wasn't like they were women that he was with.
Mm-hmm.
He just has friends. Like, he has all these friends from like his army days, or you know what I mean, like, I don't know. And she was just like, oh, this one is a hairdresser, and I told her she could stay here, and Shanna was like, okay. And then it was, well, she's gonna pay part of the rent or part of the mortgage or whatever, you know what I mean? And then 2 weeks later, her boyfriend is living there too. And then, and I told Shanna, I'm like, this is your house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like, and so that didn't last very long at all. It was just more annoying. He's married, but he still kind of lives like a single guy. You know what I mean? Like, he never understood what marriage meant. Like, to me, if I'm going to move someone in the house and I do that without my husband, we're going to have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I know there's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the friend thing, that didn't bother her. That didn't bother her as much as he just doesn't always considerate of her feelings. How about that?
Yeah.
He doesn't always, like, for me, like, my first thought is, is my husband gonna be okay with this? You know what I mean? He doesn't have that.
Gotcha.
That doesn't go through here.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's, it just makes good sense. I'm gonna charge her $600 to stay in this spare room. You know what I mean? And he looks at it, and that's how he looks at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's even intentional. It's just how he's wired.
Yeah. So maybe it's a money thing, bringing a little extra income for the two of them.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would you say, does anyone ever stand in your mind that Shanna, you've met, or that Shanna talks about, that just seems like kind of odd ducks that he hangs out with?
That he hangs out with? No, because he really doesn't hang out with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He's, you know what I mean? He's just around, He's got, like, these rental properties that bring in money,
Mm-hmm.
and, he pretty much is always home.
Yeah.
He's always there. It's rare. Like, if he's not at a doctor's appointment, or, you know what I mean, or some kind of appointment, like medical appointment, which I think he's got quite a few different things. I think he's on some portion of disability from the military or something. So other than appointments, like, he's a homebody.
Yeah.
He's always there. You know what I mean? Like, now maybe, so-and-so's coming in from out of town, and you know what I mean, and the whole group might get together and go, have a couple beers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's few and far between.
Was he ever the one that kind of take crazy trips?
No. He would take, like, I don't know, I think he's got family. Like, his family's like, always, if anyone gets in trouble, they call Uncle Mario, because he'll help them. You know what I mean? So, you got a niece that's fighting with her parents, and you know what I mean? What do I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you go talk to the parents, and, so he was like more like the family mitigator.
Gotcha.
And I mean, I've never heard of him taking a trip that had something to do with other than family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've known throughout the years of him taking trips,
Yeah.
but it always had a family, some
Nexus to
cousin
it,
or
yeah.
some niece, or you know what I mean? It was
Right.
always family. I never heard about trips anywhere other than family stuff.
Gotcha. And did he have a brother living there at some point, and something happened with that?
Guillermo, he was there. He got out of the military, and he was staying with them. He wasn't living with them. He was just staying there. And they had a falling out because, I don't know, he was letting the kids say his name improperly, and Mario was like, no, make them say your name the way it is. And he was like, they're little kids. But again, Mario doesn't, you know what I mean? So they had this big falling out over the kids inability to say Guillermo, and he told him to leave. But he only just went to the sister's house. You know what I mean? Like he kind of bought back and forth between them just for the time that he was in town. Mm-hmm. But it was never a he was living with them situation.
Yeah. Okay.
That was just, I think it was like a week or something.
Gotcha. So his sister lives here too?
His sister lives here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's her name? Do you know?
Neely?
I don't know. I was just curious. Not a big thing there.
I don't know.
Just curious.
I don't know. Mealy, I think. That's how he says it. I don't know if that's short for something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've met her a couple times.
So what did you think when you first heard about Jared, getting killed?
Well, Shanna called me on Thursday morning after it happened, and I could tell by her voice something was wrong. And she said, Jared's dead. And I said, I'm sorry, what did you just say? And she said, did you hear about that shooting last night in Jack's Beach? And I said, no. And she said, it was him. It was him. And I said, what? I couldn't process it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't, I was shocked. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And she just, and then she told me that what had happened and that Kirsten was coming over and they were going to tell the kids together. And I didn't have the time to put into the conversation because it was like 7 o'clock in the morning and I was leaving for the airport to go bury my mother-in-law. And so, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just, and I was like, and then I was torn between, you know what I mean? It's like, I had to go do that, but I knew she probably needed, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's so, and then as people started finding out, they were texting me, and I just so happened to have Wi-Fi on the plane, whatever mm-hmm. flight we were on. I don't remember, American or Delta, one of them, but, and so it was like, oh my gosh, have you heard? You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, and you know what I mean? And they're just like, oh my gosh, that's the craziest thing, and you know what I mean? And so, I mean, it was just more of a shock than anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was, I can remember saying, I'm sorry, what? I must have said it 3 times. Are you kidding me? Right? You know what I mean? I just thought it was like I was in Bizarro World or something. It was I just couldn't, I mean, and then, of course the days just started unfolding and you know what I mean? And then, so then I started following the story from the plane and, you know what I mean? That kind of a thing. And it was just so hard to wrap my head around.
Right.
That it happened to him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
So just knowing Jared, knowing Shanna, knowing the whole family, knowing you probably have a better insight into their marriage and everything. Just into Jared, really. You saw his personality, whatever. I don't lead you, but in your brain, in your conscience, your soul, what do you think happened to him?
Well, it was always about money with him.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And he was a Freemason, he and his dad, and to me that's just some shady crap.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, if you know what I mean, that's some shady crap, and I figured it was a money thing. You know what I mean? That was my first gut was, who'd you piss off? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Who did you money? You know what I mean? Some deal went bad was what my first thought was. Whether or not it was the Freemason thing, I don't know. You know what I mean? But I do know he was into that, and when I say into it, because I know a lot of people who are members of that.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of research on that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's weird.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those secret society things. You're not allowed to tell your wife anything. You know what I mean? Anything where you are asked to keep secrets from the one person that you're supposed to be able to tell everything
mm-hmm.
to is sketchy to me.
Yeah.
But because I know of his love for money and that's what drove him, my head automatically went. I figured as the story unfolded, I figured there was two scenarios. Either it was a business deal gone bad, or maybe some like random gang initiation, or you know what I mean, like some weird thing like that. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's my first thought was money from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure, like, have you and Shanna like kind of talked about theories and what's been going on, and you know what's her kind of take on the situation, or?
Oh, it's very interesting how Kirsten's trying so hard to, you know, judge, jury, executioner right in the public eye. You know what I mean? Like she's trying real hard, you know, and you know, I mean, I have theories on that too, but you know what I mean?
What are your theories? I'd love to hear them.
Jared and Shanna, I've known a lot of people that got divorced, even including in my own family. I've never seen anyone with the venom and hatred as Jared. He was just an you know what I mean? Like to me, he was an angry person. Mm-hmm. Okay, he hated Shanna. Everyone thought he hated Shanna. I thought he was obsessed with Shanna, personally.
Interesting.
If I told you that the girl between Shanna and his current wife, and even his current wife back when Shanna was younger, they could be sisters. He had a type. Mm-hmm. Their engagement rings, if you line them all three up, you have to look hard. Their engagement poses, exact. Okay? He had a type. I think he wanted everyone to believe he hated her, but I don't really think he did. There was even an IEP meeting at a school where the guidance counselor, like he wanted, if there was a meeting for the kids, he wanted there to be two separate meetings so he didn't have to be in the same room with Shanna. Mm-hmm. Guidance counselor told him, no, we got to get all these people together. It's one meeting. You can either get the notes or you can be there. Yeah. So he would always sit, always in the corner, never would say a word, never would be near her, wouldn't make eye contact. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Mm-hmm. And the guidance counselor even asked her, how long have you been divorced? After it was over. She's like, 3 years or 4 years, whatever it was. And she was like, something's wrong with him, because you shouldn't trigger him the way you trigger him after this much time. Mm-hmm. If it had been 3 months, okay, I get it. But that, you know what I mean? Like, so everyone saw that. The teachers all saw. He was just weirdly opposed to being even near her. Mm-hmm. And when he married Kirsten, so like Jared has horrible grammar, horrible spelling. Like, it's like third grade gone bad. You just want to get your red pen out and just go to town or cry if you're reading it. And when he married her, everything changed, and it was 100% obvious that she was drafting the emails. Always passive aggressive, always, you know what I mean? But you knew it was her because he didn't just get literate, you know what I mean? He always struggled in school, you know what I mean? Like, that was the thing. Yes. But anyway, so I think that the two of them enjoyed making Shanna's life hard. You know what I mean? Sending things that would hurt her. They would say things that were just hurtful. You know what I mean? And I in my initial thought was, well, the only way that she keeps his memory alive is to keep doing that. I'll make everyone hate her. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And I first thought that, but now, as I've given it more and more thought, I think she's setting her up. I think Kirsten is setting Shanna up for a civil suit for wrongful death. Because in a criminal court, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. Mm-hmm. In civil, it's what, 51%? You know what I mean? Like, what you just gotta have people feel sorry for you and be on your side, and she knows Shanna got money, and you just gotta sell your story. Which, you know, she set Shanna up from the get-go. Mm-hmm. She told her from day one, don't say his name, don't talk to reporters, don't let anyone interview you. You know, she was going to sue the school because they put out an email saying, you know, everything we can do. Mm-hmm. And then 3 weeks later, she's on national freaking television. You know what I mean? Like, I think that 3 weeks gave her the time to create this narrative that Shanna did it.
Mm.
But if you even knew Shanna would never do anything that would hurt her kids. Ever. She just wouldn't. That's not what she's made of.
Yeah.
Her kids, I mean, she had a kid that was at the brink of death. You know what I mean? Like, he was born and he wasn't going to survive. They didn't think Liam was going to live. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, her entire life has been her kids and protecting them.
Yeah, I get that.
You know? I mean, that's... Anyone who knows the real Shanna, not the story that you've been spun off by the Bridigans, that, you know, she's a whore and she'll sleep with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, if you know Shanna, her kids, that's all she ever wanted was kids.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if you ask her if she regrets marrying Jared, she'll tell you no. Because she wouldn't have her kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, and for all the things he did to her, you know what I mean? That's not your typical answer for someone who's spinning out about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
How can I get rid of him? Do you know what I mean? Like, it was always, every decision she made through her marriage and her divorce was always, how will this affect my kids? That was always her first question.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And I might be wrong about her setting Shanna up for the suit or whatever, but I don't know. I can see that coming.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I know you don't know,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying,
yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I can see it coming.
Yeah.
It just seems like all the makings of, you know what I mean, of what's coming. Because you don't have to prove who killed him.
Not in a civil suit.
Not in a civil suit.
No.
You don't have to prove
Yeah.
that. I mean, I know how the
Yeah.
legal system works. My dad was a DA. I get it.
Yeah.
I spent many a time in the courtroom. I know how this works, and
Yeah.
you know, you could just see the writing on the wall if you got any kind of familiarity with, you know, how these kind of cases go.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think she deserves answers. You know what I mean? Everybody deserves to know, but I think if you guys were to arrest some, you know, some kid who said that he was being initiated in a gang, she's going to be sad. That's not justice for her. Justice for her is being able to get Shanna. That's justice for her. Because in her mind, Shanna's the bad guy. She tormented him. She abused him emotionally. I mean, I see all the comments that go on, you know. I mean, but when you go to such extremes that you're attacking her business, you're attacking her family, you know what I mean? Like, it's getting a little much now.
So, I mean, you've seen all the comments. You see what the people are saying. No, totally impossible, or
That Shanna had anything to do with this?
Shanna or Mario.
I don't see it. I spent a lot of time. You know what I mean? I've been with on Shanna's side for 8.5 years. There's nothing that happened in the marriage or the divorce that I have not been privy to. And, you know, Mario...
Because there was no love lost between Mario and Jared. He said on the couch and said that.
Oh, no, he did. He hated
him.
He hated what he did to him, or to her. He hated how he treated the kids. You know what I mean? Because the story you're seeing in the news is not with the story that the kids were reporting.
Of course.
However, I also, and I always tell Shanna this, when you take your notes from little children who are trying to please you at your house and him at his house, you know, there's no telling what they were saying over there either.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, again, with the survival skills.
I know how that goes.
Yeah, you got a set of survival skills per house, depending on where you are, is what you say and what you don't say. And you know that you learn that at a very young age. You learn that. Mario likes his, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, he's got a cushy life. You know what I mean? Mario is selfish. I don't think he would sacrifice that for something like this.
Yeah.
Do I think he cried tears when he found out? No. I didn't ask, but...
I did, and he said no.
But my gut tells me he wouldn't, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, that would be Mario's kind of a play, you know? It's damn the good luck, you know what I mean? But I don't see it, you know? But again, you know what I mean? I'm just Shanna's friend. You know? I know that he, for however good or bad of an actual husband he is, he's a good friend to Shanna, and my gut tells me if it was anything that was going to bring this kind of heat on Shanna, which if you know Jared's family at all, everything was always Shanna's fault in the marriage, in the divorce, forevermore. It's all her fault.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that to her and those kids.
Right. And by the way, I'm just spitballing here.
Oh,
okay?
I know.
So,
I know.
So just
you and half the.
let's just say that Mario decided one day he had enough. He was done with Jared, and he was not taking any more of his crap. And he went out and he did do that. Would Shanna distance herself from him?
100%.
Or would he protect her? Would she protect him?
She wouldn't. She would protect the kids. Always.
Yeah.
Kids are her priority.
Yeah.
No man.
And I can tell you, as many times as I've talked to her, I 100% believe that those children are her priority.
100%.
I 100% believe that.
Nothing is more important to her than them and their well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And so if she thought he had anything to do with this, she'd have kicked him to the curb. He'd been gone.
Yeah.
That day. Like the second she found
Yeah.
out. There'd have been no plan. There'd have been he'd have been gone.
Yeah.
There'd have been no question.
Like I said, I'm just...
Yeah, I know.
Conjecture.
I know.
Just talking.
So
that's
all everyone's doing. You know, like that's all it is online. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't read. We try. I can't speak for him. I'm sure he is, but I haven't read the first comment. I don't read any of that stuff.
It will either make you laugh or piss you off. It does one of two things. A lot of the comments are her.
You heard Kirsten?
She's got fake accounts.
Yeah.
100%. And he was famous for that. He had hundreds of fake accounts.
Yeah.
And she's in Microsoft. She does, you know what I mean? But I mean, I know for a fact. There are too many things, like some of these comments get like real intimate, and you're talking about things that were 7-10 years ago. Only you know that. If you're the wife. Yeah. You're the only one that knows that. Because it was his spin on the story. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I feel confident if just it's much different if, you know what I mean, you look that IP address and hit the same computer. I feel confident.
Well, we get lots of interesting things as well, lots of interesting tips. Everything from psychics to crazy people
psychics,
to,
huh?
you know, we've had a couple of psychics reach out to us. And we've heard lots of crazy, interesting theories. So
I try not to give theories. I'm just trying to tell you the things that I know and that I remember.
All. This is more about background, just because you do. It's hard to find people. We found people that know Jared now, and we found people that know Shanna now and Mario now. It's hard to find someone who still knows them today, who knew them
20
before.
years. Yeah.
So so that's why we were.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned that you knew Jared even before Shanna. I was like, oh, I'd be curious to see what he was like, because like you alluded to, once someone dies, all you ever hear is how great they were and what an amazing person.
What kind of a douche do you like? Like if you get on there and you're like, oh, you mean that kid that broke everyone's heart, and you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get on there and say that.
Yeah.
So.
But that's all I have. You.
Yeah. So it seems like Shanna confides in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's fair.
How often has she kind of confided in you during this time since Jared was killed? Like how often do you talk? And
we don't talk any more than we did before. I mean, she and I usually, like I said, we usually talk 5-6 times a week, sometimes every day. Just depends on what's going on with the kids. You know what I mean? She's been there's actually probably been maybe a couple days in a row that we didn't talk. If like, you know, sometimes the kids will have a meltdown, or, you know what I mean? She's been very present for them. And so she will drop me, you know what I mean? It'll just be, oh, you know, it's been a bad day, you know what I mean? That or the other. And then she might catch me up the day later. You know what I mean? Okay. So I wouldn't say that the time that we spend talking or whatever has really changed at all. It's been pretty much the same.
Did she tell you, did she talk to you at all when she came in and talked to us the first time or the second time?
She did tell me that she came in and that she talked to you guys. She said she was given background information. She told me that she said Mario would come in too. She told me she came in and gave DNA.
Yes.
She I mean, is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, like the first time when she came in and talked to us, she told you all about that experience and the conversation and all that, or no?
Not really. She just said that they were just like, you know, like generalized kind of questions, and
gotcha.
you know what I mean. Like she wasn't very specific on questions, but Shanna, she doesn't have like. I'm the memory bank, which is funny because my husband says I forget stuff. But like you know what I mean? Like she'll like for things like litigation wise, like with the divorce, it was like, you know, he's saying this, or this, and I'm like, oh no, remember, you know, there was that email from his attorney that said this, and you know, I was like, go look, you know what I mean? And so, but she forgets things, you know what I mean? Like. Yeah. You know, she kind of is in the moment, and then she forgets the details.
I got you. Did she tell you before she was coming in here to talk to us?
No.
Did she call you? So she didn't call you and talk to you before she came in and talked to us?
I don't think so. But I don't remember.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Here, I'm telling you, I'm the memory bank, and I don't remember. But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even remember what day it was or anything.
It was the 28th was the day before, and March 1st was the day she came in and talked to us.
She may have told me that she was coming. Mm-hmm. She may have told me that she was coming. In fact, I think she did tell me that she was coming and that they were coming in together.
Mm-hmm. So
but she didn't know if you guys were gonna talk to them together or separate them.
Mm-hmm. So nothing memorable.
Nothing memorable.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, my brain works weird, but after she came in and talked to us, you did say that she called you and talked to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did y'all talk about that?
About her conversation in here?
Yeah.
The once, maybe another time.
Okay.
Anything else? Have you met Sterling and Shelley?
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion of those guys?
They're awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
I've known them for several years. Shelley is very. She loves me because I take care of Shanna. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like her family here when they can't be here.
Yeah.
And Shanna can't move because of the heart thing. He's got to stay at sea level.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So, you know, she knows that Shanna's always got somebody if she needs somebody.
Yeah.
So, in fact, it was funny because we were crossing paths, like, when all this happened, when Jared got murdered, you know, they were booking flights to come here, and I'm on flight to go out there. She offered us to stay in her house. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was like, and then we were like, oh, no, we got to stay with, you know, my husband's dad, because he was alone and stuff. So, but, yeah, you will not meet a more genuine, generous. They make a lot of money, but they believe money is to do good things with.
Gotcha.
And they, you know what I mean? Like, they help so many people and do so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're very down to earth, you know. Even for as wealthy as they are, they're very humble.
That's good to hear.
They're not you know what I mean? You're not, Kris Kardashian ain't walking in here. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're very simple. You know what I mean? I mean, they have all the nicest things, but they're very humble.
Gotcha.
They're very humble, and they're very giving, and, you know, they're good people. They're good people.
All right, well, that's all I have. I really, really, really appreciate you coming on and talking to us.
Okay. I don't know if I helped you. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like all of my information is so old.
You know, I tell people, because people say that a lot, we don't know either. We don't know what helps us and what doesn't. You know, sometimes it's the little things. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so we deal a lot in what we call victimology. So you building a profile of what your victim is like, what their personality's like, the things that they do. I've never heard about the Freemason thing, so that's new.
He was very involved in that with his dad, because I know he used to go to the meetings when he was married to Shanna, because oftentimes I would go over because I knew he wouldn't be there because he'd be with, you know what I mean? That was a big pride factor for his dad.
Was a Freemason.
He was the only son that would participate in that with him. But Jared was very proud of it. He wore the ring, and that ring means something if it's facing me, I need help. If it's facing you, I'm available to help you. Like, there's a lot of, you know, in fact, that ring that he wore, he told me, this is going to be yours one day.
Interesting.
Yeah, like he was very proud of that ring. So that I guess that's how they speak to each other without saying words, which was good for him because he wasn't very social. Just look at my ring.
Well, hey, thank you. I'll give you my card on our way out, and if you have any questions or anything, you can give me a call.
Yeah,
let me know.
Sure.
Or if you hear anything crazy.
All right. It's nice to meet you.
Kim Jensen's statements reflect her personal experiences, her loyalty to Shanna Gardner, and information she says was shared with her over the years. They should not be treated as an independent or neutral account of the former marriage. 9 months later, investigators interviewed Kim again. By then, Henry Tenon had been arrested and the questions had shifted toward Mario Fernandez-Saldana and a possible motive.